All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Sean Lowery Show, episode 53. I have my first returning guest on, Julian Rosen, and he's a neuroscience mindset guy, one of my favorite follows on Instagram, and he's now working with Wake Up Wealthy, which, tell me about that, man.
Yeah.
So we were just kind of talking. I forgot to hit record. But you joined as a client at first.
Yeah, joined as a client. As I was saying when we were recording the first version of the episode before we hit record, we're all human, man. We all make that mistake. I've done an entire hour and a half long thing, and
you had to redo it.
Oh yeah. So
that sounds.
So
painful.
this is a hiccup in comparison, but
we only talked for 30 seconds before I noticed I didn't hit record. So could have been worse.
Could have been way worse. Yeah, but I was saying, as I'm sure a lot of your listeners, right, know this. Entrepreneurship, business ownership can be this really isolating thing, right? Definitely. It could be this really isolating thing. And that isolation makes us really vulnerable to our own demons, right? Our own mental blocks, our own emotional patterns, our own limitations. And so, I joined as a client to help scale my coaching company at the time, the Fearless Life Project. And, when I joined, I was just like the camaraderie, the information, but just the feeling of family that you got with joining this program, along with all the tactical stuff, all the business systemizations and all the performance strategies were great. But just fell in love with it and, saw an opportunity to really contribute to it and make it better. I had the conversation with my partner, Brody Kern, who founded it. And teamed up right around the holidays. And then 2020, we just put the fucking gas pedal to the floor, have scaled to 6-figure months, and just the program that we've built, the lives it's changing, the businesses it's changing, the revenue it's generating, it's just fucking bonkers. And so, and it also allowed me to step out of the parts of business I really didn't like that much and really just focus on building transformational programs, delivering coaching, and
that's so cool. So you had your own coaching thing, and then you joined the Fearless Life Project, and then you joined Wake Up Wealthy as a client because you were looking for help because you were a business owner on your own, and it was a good group for that. And then you liked it so much that you're like, I want to get involved with this. That's basically what happened. That's awesome, man.
And some of it came from just knowing my fucking value, knowing my worth, right? And I was like, dude, I could make this thing better. This thing is great, but I could make this thing better. And so, I was really proud of the balls that it took for me to do it because, me a year ago or me a few years ago wouldn't have made that move. Right.
What'd you do? Did you go up to the guy and be like, listen, I got some ideas of how we can improve this. Sign me up. I will help you and I'll make this thing better.
Yeah. Well, so he reached out to me and was like, hey man, I know you're at the top of the game in what you do. Would you mind building me, he wanted a small, almost like a mini course for the program. And I was like, bro, you need more than that. Let's talk about what it would look like if we literally combined everything we're experts at. Right. And like I said, man, the synergy since 2020 turned into 2020 has just been epic. So dude, so much has changed on my end, since you and I have spoken last. So I'm really looking forward to, allowing some of that evolved information to flow into the conversation so that your listeners can then take it and implement it into what they're doing.
I love it, dude. Yeah. So I know we talked a little before, let's just get right into it. Right. You wanted to talk about, it's been a crazy year, right? 2020.
Yeah, dude. It's been wild. But it's that's why this conversation has to happen. And, last time on our last episode, you and I, we spoke a little bit about, ego and mindset, right?
Yes.
And really what we're seeing now is the relevance of what goes on in your inner world can no longer be denied, because what happens in your inner world always gets manifested. It always seeps into your outer world, right? And so a lot of us, we think our results just kind of come out of nowhere, right? They're this mixture of luck and our upbringing and our genetics. And you know what I mean? A lot of us, we look at our results and we see them as separate from us, right? We're like, oh man, that guy's got amazing results. I have less amazing results. We just must be inherently different, right? Maybe he came from a richer background. Maybe he was just born with confidence. Maybe this, maybe that. And so what we were really getting into in the last episode was no. They're inextricably linked. Right? How you think, how you see yourself, how you feel emotionally on a daily basis, all of that drives your performance builds your results, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of us, we focus on the tactic, right? We're like, oh, I just got to do more outreach, I got to just get more people on the phone, right. But if deep down you feel failure, you feel fear, you feel insecurity, you don't see yourself as worthy of getting the sales that you're pursuing, you'll be right. And so, that's what we were talking about, and what I want to revisit.
And that's the coolest thing that I just love about the brain. I mean, so your inner thoughts, the things that you believe about yourself inherently, this is basically a fact. They manifest in your world. Like if you believe that like you're a piece of shit and that you don't deserve anything, then you're never going to get anything, right? That's like, unless it's just pure luck or something like that, or you win the lottery, right? Like it's basically fact. So, I mean, I look at that as like, okay, so change the way you think about it. And for me, like you talk about these like demons and the things you like struggle with, and like, I don't know, me personally, like maybe I started learning this stuff early, but like, or maybe my mom says when I was born as a kid, I was like happy. Yeah. I don't have that many like demons really. And I know a lot of people like deal with that type of stuff. And maybe sometimes I like getting different perspectives on that. Cause like, so you got your inner thoughts, and you basically have to shift them to make your life better.
Yeah. And so what I want a lot of people to understand is like, think about your personality.
Okay.
Right. Think about your personality. What is it? Right. Because
like I was gonna say me, happy business guy. Yeah.
Happy business guy. Right.
But in general, for the listeners, think about your personality.
Yeah. But I mean, this applies to you. This applies to me. Like if you think about your personality, really, what is it? Right. Because do you like Joe Dispenza? You ever heard of Joe Dispenza?
I think you mentioned him on the last time.
Yeah.
Like, so no, I don't really know him that well.
I want to credit him because like he came up with this, but like, and if you ever look into any of his stuff, like it is next level. It's amazing. But he says your personality builds your personal reality. Right. And again, once he dives into the neuroscience and the quantum science behind it, you're like, oh shit, he's right. Because your personality is, think about it. It's your most commonly felt feelings, your most commonly thought thoughts, and your most commonly demonstrated behaviors, right? Like that is your personality. Right.
Right.
Right. So when you think about you most commonly think happy thoughts, and most commonly feel good, and most commonly demonstrate positive behaviors, right? Therefore, your personality is, hey, Sean's a happy dude. He's a happy business owner. Look at him, right? So it's really important when people say, yeah, my personality, what you're referring to is not this thing that is set in stone that you inherited that can never be changed, right? If your personality is just your most commonly practiced thoughts, which you control, your most commonly demonstrated behaviors, which you also control, and your most commonly felt feelings, which, how we think and how we act determine how we feel, you also control that. And so since you and I spoke last, one of the biggest realizations I've had, Sean, is like, wait a minute. If your personality builds your personal reality, and your personality is actually customizable, what does that say about your life?
Your life's customizable.
Your life is customizable. And so I think a lot of people, they experience a lot of pain. They experience a lot of negativity because they're like, shit, I'm stuck. I'm set in stone, right? Like I'm a nervous person. I could never do what Sean does. I could never lead a team. I could never scale a business and take that risk. I could never start a podcast because I'm nervous. I'm an introvert. I'm afraid of risk. Right. And a lot of people would say, that's just my personality, man. I can't, like, I'm stuck forever. Yeah. And so if we're here, if neuroscience is showing and epigenetics is showing that, well, wait a minute, your personality is customizable.
Yeah.
You can change it. Doors open.
Yeah. And I just kind of portrayed that like, that I naturally, and like how that, but no, it's not natural. I learned this stuff early on. Around 19, my life changed. I read the book Think and Grow Rich, and I started to learn this stuff. So I think at the point I am now, I'm very happy with where I am, but I have trained myself over a long period of time. Like I when I first started my podcast and stuff, I felt fear, and like I was just like, okay, this is a feeling, and I just have to fight it and acknowledge it. And it's just like doing the bicep curl or anything that you get better with the time. But I still had to do it, but I knew that I had to do it, so it made it a lot easier. And same thing with business. Like we talked about last time, I was at a point where I was $300,000 in the hole. And when it happened, I was just like, I'm ready for this. I know what I need to do. I need to stay positive. I need to fight through it. I need to control emotions. But like that is all stuff that I learned and I trained my brain to do. And I like to revisit it often because I don't want to just get on cruise control and stop bettering myself.
Yeah.
Because I think that's dangerous too.
Yeah. So you just hit the nail on the head, dude. Like you practiced it.
Practice.
Right? Like why are negative people so negative? Because they practice every fucking day. Why are positive people so positive? Because they practice every single day. Remember, your personality is customizable, right? So if you practice thinking a certain way, okay, well, now you're feeling a certain way because of how you're thinking and acting. Okay, well, now you got a new attitude, right? If
it's negative, if you have a negative natural personality and you're doing that, you might not be like trying, but you are practicing it by doing it still. Like you're creating a habit, and like then you have to consciously be like, that's when it gets hard. It's like stop thinking like this, like start thinking positively. Like all right, I'm in a situation where I would normally complain. Right now, I have to stop, not complain, and and say a positive thing out loud or whatever. Write it down, just think that, and then like that's one rep. Yeah. And then the second time is the second rep. And like, it's hard. It's hard, but it's easier. I think it gets easier.
Well, it has to. It gets easier because think about anything you've practiced enough, what happens, right? Think about when you put the keys in the car. Dude, when you put your keys in your car, most of us, me, I'm being honest, my brain shuts off, right? I put the keys in and boom, I know I put on the seatbelt, my foot hits the gas, boom, I put it like, I'm not consciously being like, okay, apply 6 PSI to the pedal to go this and turn 45 degrees, right? Like, no, my body's doing it without my mind needing to be there. Same thing. Why does the average American check their phone 96 times a day? Not because they actually have pressing, urgent communication things. They've practiced looking at the screen. They've practiced picking it up out of their pocket and pressing the button. Their body starts to do it without needing their mind. Same thing if you've shot a basketball 1,000 times or swung a golf club 1,000 times or practiced being nervous 1,000,000 times, right? Like what happens when you practice something enough consciously, your conscious mind hands it over to your subconscious mind. Yeah. And your conscious mind is like, hey, we are so good at this. Like you no longer need me anymore. Here you go. Boom. Right. Because your subconscious mind, think about it. Who tells your heart to beat gallons of blood through your body every couple of minutes, right? Who tells your digestive enzymes to release at just the right time to turn your food into energy and immunity? Like your subconscious mind does it for you. You know what I mean? Right. So anything that you have practiced so much that you deem necessary to your well-being, your conscious mind hands the baton over to your subconscious mind. Right. Which, again, our subconscious mind lives in our body and goes, hey, you can do this without me now. So many people have practiced being negative so much that their body can do it without them even thinking about it. Right.
It's their default.
Yeah. It's their default, man. And but it's a two-way street. So if you've practiced seeing the best in yourself or seeing the best in people, if you've practiced positive thinking or just neutral thinking, right? You don't have to pretend everything's rainbows and unicorns, but you don't always have to assume your knee-jerk reaction of negativity is right? Like the more you practice that, eventually your conscious mind goes, hey, I know how to be positive without the brain commanding it. We can just become positive. And what is that called? Personality, right? And so if anybody reading this, you're like, man, I could grow my business so much more quickly if I was a more confident leader, but I just don't have that confidence. No, that's not true. You've just practiced insecurity a lot. Right. And now your body can do it without your brain even saying, hey, let's be insecure. Right. And so when you think about any dysfunctional behavior that holds us back, again, our conscious mind isn't saying like, okay, today I need to get the oil changed in the car. I need to sabotage my dreams. I need to think of myself negatively, right? Like it's not happening consciously. It's your conscious mind has done it so many times that now your subconscious mind knows it without needing orders from your mind. And so like, that's why, meditation, journaling, becoming familiar with yourself, because that's what meditation means. The word to meditate means to become familiar with. Like if you just leave your shit on autopilot, your chances of significant, consistent change don't look good.
Yeah. I think it's the most powerful thing in the world. Decide who you want to be, and then train your brain to be like that. And if everyone could learn that, everyone would be so happy. Meditation is interesting. You meditate. You meditate?
Oh yeah.
Like every day?
Non-negotiable. Oh yeah, dude. Like,
okay.
It's like a super pill.
So I wanted to talk about meditation because I started doing it like 4 years ago. And basically I started doing it because it was trendy. And I was like, all right, let's see what this is about. And I have the Calm app. And I just was looking before this. Like last month, I meditated 15 out of the 30 days because it keeps your little schedule of how many times you did it.
Yeah.
And I always I never cheat it. And I don't know. Like I can't tell if it's been beneficial for me. I need like a little more on it because so here's the way that I've learned why it's beneficial. It's because you sit down for 10 minutes, you just and you try to think about nothing. And every little short burst will come and you'll start thinking about something. And then you have to be like, no, and bring yourself back in and start thinking about nothing again. And that's like a rep. And like I was taught that it'll help your brain be better focused on just controlling where you want to put your energy of your brain. And that is like the benefits of it. It's like working out for your brain. And I still do it. Like sometimes I just like, we'll be having a day and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take 10. I'm going to meditate. I do 10. I do 10 or 15. Sometimes I'll like go to the bathroom and be like, and then get right back to it. Like I'm not great at it. And I've been doing it pretty consistently, not like you, say every third day for 4 years. And I still do it. But I don't know. I guess like if someone said, should I meditate? From my point of view, I don't think I can explain well with words like the benefits it's given to me. What's your take on that?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. And I'm the same way. If you don't explain the what and the why, like I really won't buy into the how.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If no one ever told me to do it, like if no one ever told me to exercise, I probably would have figured out at some point in my life, okay, wow, if I run, I feel better and I'm skinnier. But like if no one ever would have told me to meditate, I never would have thought of it or never would have done it.
Because I mean, we operate off meaning, right? Like meaning drives our behavior. And so, if no one helps you assign meaning to it, probably not going to care too much about it. You know what I mean? And so, dude, when it comes to transformation, right? Like meditation is such a key factor because.
So going from the person that you are to the person you want to become, it's a key factor for that.
Correct. Right. Because like we were just saying, right. If you want to change your personal reality, right, you got to change your personality.
Yes.
Right. You got to change
so maybe for me, like, I feel like I'm pretty happy with the person I am. And like, I'm kind of close to the person I want to be. Mm-hmm. And maybe the transformation aspect is like, I'm not at a place where I hate myself and I want to become better. Cause I feel like that's where a lot of the people are. And that it helps with that transformation. Like, how does it help with the transformation?
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. So again, if you want to start, let's talk about training the puppy. Let's talk about that, right? Like, let's say,
I seen you have some cute puppies on Instagram.
Dude, they're the cutest. I don't know where they went, but they'll usually just kind of like jump on screen. But like, if you wanted to train a puppy, right? Like, because it's a puppy, you understand it's going to do puppy stuff, right? You'll get mad, right? Like, let's say you're like, sit right here, right in the middle, sit. And the puppy starts to get up and wander over here to the right. You wouldn't shame the puppy because it's just, dude, it's a puppy. It's just exploring. It's just doing what puppies are wired to do, right? But you're like, I need the puppy right here. I need the puppy to focus, right? So you would just gently put the puppy back, right? And then let's say the puppy gets up and it walks over here to the left. Again, like it's just a puppy being a puppy. So you don't judge it. You don't get mad at it. But if you know you need the puppy here in the middle to focus, you would just pick it up and put it right back, right? And so a lot of our problems come from the fact that we actually can't really control our mind that well, right? Like, we're very reactive with our thoughts. And so when we're reactive with our thoughts, that elevates a lot of things in our mind and our body, right? It activates our sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight or flight nervous system. So cortisol is going to rise. Your brain is going to deharmonize, meaning your brain stops talking to itself, right? So the front brain stops communicating to the back of the brain. The left and the right brain stop communicating. So it's chaos in your brain. Your brain waves become desynchronized. So you get into what's called high beta, which is, again, it's this very stressed out, incoherent wave pattern for your brains, right? And so if you're trying to focus, be productive, create change, create new habits, have a little more energy, right? Commit to something new, which requires more focus and energy. You just simply can't do that if you are consistently sending your mind and body into survival mode. Because think about smiling and frowning at the same time, right? It's pretty exclusive. It's pretty mutually exclusive, right?
It is.
Just think about this. You cannot be in survival mode and be in creation mode at the same time. Because when you're in survival mode, your body's saying, this isn't a time to change. This isn't a time to learn. This isn't a time to grow. We need, we're under attack. We need all of our resources. We need all of the, all of the focus, all of the energy, right? And so again, like if you're constantly in survival mode, reacting to your thoughts, you're not going to, it's like, you just won't be able to grow and change consistently. And so, meditation is the ability to regain that mental composure, right? Because, and here's also a fun fact that a lot of people don't know, like you have 50 to 70,000 thoughts a day, right? Depending on who you are and how stimulated you are. 90% of those are repetitive. 90% of them, right?
Wow.
And so if you and I are saying, well, yeah, dude, it's nutty, right? And so if you want to transform, we agreed, right? You got to think differently. Right? You got to think differently about yourself, about the world, about success, about money, about people, about accomplishment, about what's possible, right? You got to think differently. But if you let your brain run on autopilot, if you don't train the puppy, right, it's going to, by default, not because you suck or because you have a bad brain, but by default, it's going to think the same shit you thought yesterday. And if yesterday you thought the same shit you thought the day before, and if the day, you know what I mean? So a lot of us, we haven't really had a novel, new, powerful string of thoughts in a very long time. And so again, if we don't train the puppy, if we don't learn to really objectively and peacefully calm the mind, we are going to, again, keep ourselves in survival mode, which is going to ruin our hormones. It's going to mess up our brain chemistry. It's going to keep us stuck. It prematurely ages your skin cells and your muscle cells and your brain cells. Like, dude, it's horrible, right? It's going to keep us in survival mode. And we're just going to, like, in some way, shape, or form, 90% of who we are is just going to be left over from the past. So do you see now what there is to gain? Because also, your past is heavily influenced by how you grew up. So a lot of us, we're thinking thoughts and believing stories that we didn't even ask for. Right? Just shit that was handed down to us.
I think that is where most people get stuck. Their circle of influence is so small, and it's just like their immediate friends and family. And those barriers put on by that family, like, are their walls, and that's like everything they're concerned about. What does this immediate circle think about me? And that is like the hardest thing to break through. Like, I feel like if you can break through that, your like possibilities are endless, because then you can like create yourself. But I feel like some people can never do it. They're 50, still working a job because that's what their small society or their small family like expects them to do. They just do kind of what they're told, and I hope they're happy, but I feel like it's less of a path for happiness if you're that family thing. I think is so important, and so many people get stuck right there, I think.
It's, oh dude, 100%. And you got to think like, hey, like it's not their fault, right? Because you got to think like, how about this? Between
at a certain point, I think it's their fault.
So there's a difference between fault and responsibility, right? Like, if you're crossing the street and you get hit by a car, it's not your fault, right? But if your legs get injured and you need to relearn how to walk, then it's your responsibility, right? But the person hitting you with their car, not your fault. But it's your responsibility. So because remember, when we learn a lot of these thoughts and stories, right? We learn what's possible for ourselves. We learn how to view ourselves. We learn about money and success, what's good, what's bad, right? We learn about that between the ages of 2 and 12. Again, we didn't ask for any of it. It's not our fault who our parents are. It's not our fault who our, the geographical location, the socioeconomic situation, right? So none of that is our fault, right? And so without information like this, right? Without your podcast spreading this type of information, someone never gets the information. But once you get the information, it becomes your responsibility. It becomes your opportunity, right? And so, just learning, again, the what and the why. Like, wait, so you're telling me if I meditate and become more familiar with my thoughts and train the puppy and shift from reacting to my thoughts to calmly interacting and minimizing my thoughts, I can activate my parasympathetic nervous system, which actually calms me down, allows me to create change, allows me to challenge old thought patterns that I never asked for in the first place, hormonally benefit my body and my neurochemistry. Like, oh, of course I would sit down for 10 minutes and do that. Right. So I just think a lot of people don't know what's really on the line. You know what I mean? And so, it seems like when you started reading Think and Grow Rich, a lot of new thoughts just boom came in your mind.
It opened up the world for me. Like I can't express how much it changed my life, because it was like a moment of responsibility. It's like, whoa, okay, I can do whatever I want in this world. And like, I never really thought about it before. And I was like, actually the tools of your brain allow that. And it just was so cool for me. Yeah. And I've kind of followed that on. So so if you're the person who's not happy with who you are, you want to become someone, it's work to get there, and meditation is the perfect tool. If you want to run a marathon, you work out. If you want to change who you are, meditation is the perfect tool for that. And that's why you're like all about it.
Yeah, man. Because again, it gives you a break from thinking you're your past self.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It gives you a break from thinking you're your past self. So then you get a break from feeling like your past self. Okay, well, if you're no longer feeling and thinking like that person, you no longer have to act like that person. So again, back to personality being customizable.
Yeah. So cool.
The more time you spend in, because also what happens when you meditate, right? You close your eyes, right? You go where it's quiet, right? So you remove yourself. You remove yourself from your environment. Why is that important? Well, everything in your environment has value in your mind, right? So you walk by your fridge, you see your friends, you get into your car, you pour your pot of coffee, right? Like
autopilot behavior.
Yeah. But all these things are imprinting, hey, this is who you are. Right. And who you are is who you were. And so again, when you unplug from your external reality, you're no longer getting all of that feedback. This is who you have to be, because you're becoming a blank slate, right? You're becoming no one for a second. You're becoming pure potential for a second. And so again, for a lot of people, this gives them that reprieve where they can unplug from the past self. They become free from their past personality for a little bit. And in that space, they can start to go, I don't think this pattern serves me. I don't think this pattern serves me. But if you're just constantly reacting to the chaos of life and constantly reacting to the chaos of your mind, you don't have those moments of insight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I love that, man. I love that. And so important. It's the coolest thing in the world, I think. And didn't you recently do like a social media cleanse?
Yeah, dude, I've done a couple of them.
I've never done that. And like, I think it's really interesting, because you're 100% right about when you pick your phone up, my finger, I'm like, whoa, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram. I didn't even plan that. It's 100% right. And like, I don't know. I always feel like I trust my mind, and like, to not go down a bunch of like rabbit holes. But what advantages did you find of doing that? Is it just about self-discipline, or just like literally just staying off it has some other benefit or something? What are the advantages you think of doing it? Have you done it a few times?
Yeah, because, and like, it's like, I'm not saying social media is evil, right? But it's important to understand like why it's designed, right? And it's designed, it's designed to just sell us shit. Like, that's really why it's there, right? Like, it's there for ad space.
It's designed to capture your attention, right?
Yeah. It's designed to capture your attention, right? And what it does is, though, like, again, we're talking about your personality, right? Yeah. And if you want to become someone else, you have to loosen the tethers to your old self, right? But think about it. Every time you go on social media, you're seeing familiar people. You're seeing news that triggers familiar feelings, predominantly negative feelings in your body, right? You start to feel very divisive, right? A lot of what people are posting right now, it's us versus them. So you start so now you're picking sides, which means you're further ingraining your old identity. This is who I am. Right. This is my opinion. I side with this people.
I actually do try to, I didn't even think about this, but I always have tried to unfollow people and follow new people a lot. Like, I never even thought about that, but that might be a smart thing to do for people, is like freshen up your feed, at least, of like, just change it, freshen it up, and try to get probably more positive perspectives and all that. But just the change in general is probably good.
Yeah. And so why it's so beneficial for me is like, okay, if every time you go on there, you're receiving impressions. You're receiving reminders of who you were, right?
What's your Instagram feed? What's your Instagram feed look like? What kind of people do you follow?
some funny memes, lots of funny memes, right? Do you follow Shithead Steve?
I don't.
He's funny. And then obviously some friends and some family, and then like, man, just a few like accounts that keep me conscious, right? About like, you know, the more spiritually focused, the more mindset focused. But to be honest, like the scrolling, like that's what I try to stay away from. But yeah, back to like the social media detox, just staying off it for a couple of days, right? Like I said, you get a break from being reminded of who you are or who you think you have to be. And so also it's funny, like you'll find yourself just grabbing it and you'll be like, oh my God, I almost just did it without even thinking about it. So you start to become more familiar with your subconscious patterns, right? Because you can't change something that you can't see, right? You can't change something that you don't know is there. And so if you're like, wait a minute, I used to just do like, I would just scroll for no reason, simply because I'm uncomfortable being with myself for 10 minutes. What's that about, right? So it can unravel layers of things that can really help you grow, things that can really help you move forward, right, in your evolution into who you want to be. And so that's why I like doing it. Part of it's the discipline thing, and part of it's just like, bro, it's like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day,
definitely not.
Like obviously it's an amazing thing to grow a platform and all that, but like, you know, at the end of the day, like if the internet were to die tomorrow, like, you know, it's like, it's more important.
I'd be so sad though. I love the internet. Well, I also sell on it, and that's like my livelihood. Yeah. But yeah, dude. So like the virus, right? The coronavirus, COVID-19, like very interesting thing. We talk about like a healthy mind, and like this really snuck up on everyone, and like it's crazy. I haven't been sick. I was sick one time. I haven't been sick in like 17 years, and I do think that maybe I have a good immune system. I work out, try to eat healthy, not perfect, but like I do like always just like, I feel like ignoring, like not even thinking about getting sick kind of works for me. Like I don't allow my subconscious mind to think that it's going to get sick. And like, that was my approach at the beginning of the coronavirus and stuff. And like, it's gotten like way bigger than I thought. And like, I don't know, like how is it in Texas right now? It's pretty bad. That's where you are, right? Aren't you in Austin?
Yeah. I'm in Austin. I mean, it's funny. It's like, I don't see it, but it is. It's like in Austin, it wasn't bad at first, and now the numbers are bad.
Yeah,
right.
So
like
I think it's similar to Charleston where I'm at.
Yeah. And so, but like it's funny, like in my like everyday life, I don't like walk outside and see it, right? You know, my wife's a nurse, but a pediatric nurse, and so you know, there's not a lot of children's cases here either. So it's like, so it's funny. You'd think we would be impacted by it a lot more because of where we live and her profession. But like, just like you, like right when it came out, dude, I was just like, it wasn't even a goal. It's just like, it was literally a fucking decision. I was like, it's just not going to impact me. Like, it's just not going to impact me. Like, it's not going to mess with my routine. It's not going to mess with my business. It's not going to mess with like, my ability to enjoy where I live. Like, I just made the decision. And again, like, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm wrong. I'm just saying what I did. And dude, it's so funny, right? Like, this all kind of really got big in March, dude. March, April, and May have been by far the biggest months in our business. We're just like, fuck it. Like, like people are like, hey man, I don't want to join your program. It's COVID. And we're like, well, tell me more about this fear, right? Tell me more about letting your circumstances control you. And it actually like opened up a whole new stream of helping people, right?
I love that.
Again, like, dude, my routine, I'm like close the gyms, man. I'll go find cool places out in nature to work out. Like it actually contributed a lot with my morning routine because I was getting outside so much more. And I was exploring Austin so much more.
I had trouble with that, man. I go to the gym like every day, 5 a.m. Oh, hey pup. Yeah. What's your puppy's name? What's your puppy's name?
That's Logan. Hey, Logan. And the little one will be here in a second, dude. He's down there.
But yeah, I like stopped working out just because like it was part of my routine to go to the gym, and I go to I go to Orange Theory Fitness. Like I like to work out, but I hate to like think about working out because like I'm thinking about other shit. So like they kind of tell me what to do, and like when I was at home, I was trying to work out, and I was just like, this sucks, man. I hated it. But I guess like I had to adapt to a new environment, and like I didn't do it that well. I was just like, when's the gym opening back up? And I was like, I'm not even gonna try to adapt. Like I hate this, but it did come back, and the gym is back now. We have to wear masks when we go in, but back on a healthy routine. And if it was gone forever, I would adapt and be able to work out outside of it well. But it's just crazy. Like and like you said, it was your best months of business.
Dude, by far, like insanely.
That's crazy. That's crazy. We actually had good months too, because a lot of people are shopping online.
Yeah.
And May was our biggest month of all time. And usually,
that's awesome,
usually it's like around Black Friday and the holidays.
Yeah.
But we were lucky to be able to stay open. I know a lot of people might have the same mindset as us, but then it was actually just you can't come to work or something like that, or restaurants. Like I feel for a lot of those businesses. I was very fortunate. I mean, being online is obviously great, but yeah, man. And then how do you think, like, a lot of people who are probably like depressed or down, it was mental health and the coronavirus, I think, definitely hurt a lot of people being stuck inside and all that.
Yeah, man. You gotta, like, I always ask myself, like, what's doing more damage? Like isolating people in their homes where they're not as active. Like, I think America's actually at this really unhealthy point. Like, and like, let's talk about again, that. Like, I don't want to sound ignorant, like, but I've known maybe 6 people who have gotten it, and they've, like I said, they've all probably been between the ages of 20 and 40, and they're like, yeah, I was tired for a couple of days, and then that was it.
Yeah, actually, my fiance, she wasn't feeling good for a little bit. She was fine. She got a test. She has the antibodies.
Yeah, so I mean, she probably had it, right? So
she had it. So I probably had it. Like, I mean, we made out a few times. Like,
Big deal.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I probably but I wasn't hurt for 1 second. But also, we were fortunate to be able to go to work still, and a lot of people are stuck inside. It's just like, that must suck for a lot of people, and that's when you need to have a strong mind when stuff like that happens.
Well, yeah, and I just thought it was interesting because a lot of people's numbing and distracting mechanisms were taken away, right? Like, a lot of people, you know, they'll tolerate their job because they know on the weekend they can go out, they can have drinks with their friends, they can go to the movies, and that was taken from people. You know, and like, again, the gym was taken from people, work was taken from people. And obviously I'm not saying, like, you know, the gym and work are bad distractions, but like I said, like, a lot of us, you know, I just call it the call on your heart. A lot of us have this call on our heart to be someone else. And when I say someone else, I don't mean be someone else, but like, be who we really fucking are instead of this person we thought we had to be, right? And so I think a lot of people, they have that call on their heart, but they stay so busy with work. They stay so busy with the gym. They stay so busy with their social commitments that they never really have to face, you know, maybe I'm not really as aligned with who I really am as I know I can.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I like to think one of the positives of COVID is, like, for all these people, it's like, you can't go to the gym, you can't go out, you can't go to work. You're left being like, well, how am I living my life? Who am I being? Right. And you get to take inventory. You know what I mean?
I said that, like, to everyone that I talked to about it. A lot of people I talked to, they were upset. I was like, listen, this could be a blessing in disguise. Like, okay, you went to this job every day. Now you're working from home. Like, this is a great opportunity in your life to be like, okay, now what am I? Do I like this? Do I want to go back to this job when everything gets back? Like, I thought it could be a blessing in disguise, that it's a great point for people to just think about their life, regroup, kind of meditate in a bigger sense. Like, yes, because so many people, they go out, they just get distracted, and they were forced to sit and think with who they are. And I hope some good came from that for a lot of people. And I thought that could be a benefit of it. And yeah, I mean, that's also just a positive way to think about it, which is how I train myself to be. But easy for me to say, because I got to go to work still. But I hope a lot of people got that, and people that are still stuck at home, I hope that it's a great, you put it well, saying take inventory on your life and yourself. So hopefully that was beneficial for some people in a shitty time.
Yeah, and like, dude, the power of perspective is so important. Like, if you sat on your couch and ate really bad shit all day, your body would probably look and feel like shit, right? So if you are consuming negative shit all day in your mind, what do you think your mind is going to look and feel like, right? It's just going to represent what you feed it. And so if you're feeding it, like, and like, again, like, just like social media, like, it's important to understand the concept of the news. Most mainstream news channels it's not so much about the news, it's about ad space. It's about catching your attention to sell you ad space. So it's like, well, of course, like, the news is going to prey on our human response of danger, right? So, like, yes, things are going to get a negative twist. Yes, you know, obviously people are going to prioritize the negative over random acts of kindness going out over the street, because no one would watch that.
So many people don't know that. My mom doesn't know that, and I always try to tell her. Like, she's such a headline junkie. I'm like, Mom, I'm like, because and a lot of people, here's why I think a lot of people watch the news a lot. They want to be somebody who is an informed person, and they think that they're smart if they watch the news and stay informed about what's going on in the world. And that is like part of their identity, is that they are an informed person. They watch the news, they stay informed, they know what's going on in the world, they can have conversations with people about what's going on in the world and all that. And I think that's part of their identity, is being an informed person. And those people go back to the news to get their informed. And they don't know that they're just trying to trigger this stuff in your brain to make you go crazy, to make you come back. And like, it's such an unhealthy cycle. And I talk to this about my mom all the time, and she still will be like, you see this headline? You see this headline? You see this? You see Trump? You see that? And I'm just like, Mom, stop watching the news so much. Like, think for yourself. And then we'll be like, she'll say something that is in the news, and we're like, you didn't think of that. You saw that on the news. Now you're talking to us like it's a conversation that you thought of, but you just heard about it. Too many people don't know that. And I mean, the news is just trying to trigger you, to get you wired up, to make those things in your brain like fire and go all
keep you in survival mode. Yeah, keep you in survival mode. Because again, then like we buy shit in survival mode, right? So again, like the news, just like social media, again, like, dude, I'm not saying the news is right or the news is wrong, but it's important to understand the nature of the platform.
Yes.
Right. Like, and then you get to make your own decision about it. But yeah, like just blindly being like, no, social media is super necessary and it's here to connect us. And no, the news is here to inform us. Like, first and foremost, it's here to sell ad space to eyeballs. Like that's what it's there for. Yeah. So they're going to do whatever they can to get more eyeballs on the ads to make more money.
Back in the day, I think it might used to be a little.
I think back in the day, it was a lot more wholesome. Like it was factual.
Because now their business is struggling, because people used to turn on the news 6 o'clock every day or whatever. And now there's so many other things you can do. There's Netflix, there's social media, there's all these streaming services. So like they are competing with news from everyone in the world who's a journalist, with Twitter and Instagram and other streaming platforms. Like not as much people are watching it. So their business is going down the drain. So they respond by being less wholesome and being more headliney and more grabby. And they don't care if they're spreading positive or real information in the world. They just want to get you to watch it.
Yeah.
And,
have you?
I feel like me and you know that, but it's so important. Not enough people know it.
Yeah. Have you watched any of like because I mean, and there is a slippery slope here, and I like to think I haven't gone down yet, but like some of the conspiracy theorist videos about coronavirus.
No. Like, I mean, yes. Like, I mean, I like, what do you have in your mind specifically?
Well, no, I mean, just like that it's not as bad as it's being portrayed as. That, okay, well, last year over 1 million people died from tuberculosis, but that wasn't labeled a pandemic.
I don't think it's as bad as people portray it.
Yeah, but you just saying that kind of is like, oh shit, maybe coronavirus was really good for some of these dying media channels, because people are like, well, I'm gonna get it there first.
This is news porn.
Yeah, it's like it's become relevant again.
Pumped. They're so pumped. They get to update on the numbers, and then they get to do the stories of the mass and shaming.
But dude, there's multiple accounts of doctors being asked to falsify. Like dude, there's a lot of, and I'm not pretending to be the expert on it, but like, again, like there's a lot of shifty stuff going on there to, I think, breed a little more frenzy, right? So then we do become more dependent on these traditional pillars of news media.
Absolutely.
And again, this all goes back to, hey, why should you meditate? Because then you get to have original thoughts, right?
Yes,
you get to know yourself.
Exactly. Original thoughts are like, if I like agree with a mainstream idea, I'll almost like not do it. I like go so far out of my way, and it's become natural. But I love original thoughts. Original thoughts are so cool. And when I'm talking to somebody and they have a thought I've never heard before, I'm like, this guy, I love him.
Yeah, dude. It's noble.
Original thoughts are so cool, and not enough people have them. Especially my mom. She's always reading headlines. But I actually thought the coronavirus was a little like unifying at first, because everyone was like on the same page, but now it's kind of become like political a little bit, like, wear a mask. Oh, I'm not wearing mask. Don't wear a mask. And it's just like that stupid fighting. Right?
Yeah, man, it's become very divisive. Dude, the conspiracy theorist in me is going nuts. But again, even that divisiveness is good for the media, because then it's like, well, this guy said this and this guy said this, and all these people are getting entrenched in their opinions,
right,
and their personalities, right? So I think the core of what Sean and I are saying is like, don't take our word for it. Don't take the news's word for it. Like, spend some more time inward, spend some more time meditating. Dude, read a book, man. Read a book. I recommend The Untethered Soul. I mean,
you said that last time.
Dude, it's so great because
I haven't read it.
Well, because like, since the moment we become aware, like once we're like 3 or 4, maybe 5 or 6 years old, like we become aware of this voice in our head, right? There's always this inner chatter in our brain. Like the listener listening to this, like you're hearing the words, but then there's this little voice in your head saying, well, that's right, or that's wrong, or that's weird, or like, you're not that inner critic. You're not that little voice, right? You're not the incessant chatter, which is the firing of those neurons, 50 to 70,000 thoughts a day, which are 90% left over from yesterday. Like, you're not those chattering thoughts. And so, dude, meditating 10 minutes a day and reading The Untethered Soul, like if you're like, yo, I'm sick of this negative mental chatter. I'm sick of it. How do I get rid of it?
Yeah.
You change your relationship with it. How do you do that? If you want some low-hanging fruit, meditate 10 minutes a day and read The Untethered Soul. You know what I mean?
So with Wake Up Wealthy, like, is this what you coach the clients, like this type of stuff?
Yeah.
Like, tell me about that business model a little bit, because
dude, we provide them.
I'm a business person. I'm a young business person. Yeah. And I always, coaching is interesting to me. Like, do you think like me specifically would be like a good client? Or like, is it, you're looking for people who are maybe have a little more demons or a little more not where they want to be? Or like, what's your target customer for Wake Up Wealthy?
Target customer. Yeah. Like I said, so ambitious male, right? In charge of their own income, who knows that they were put on this planet to become the greatest version of themselves, right? Meaning activation of full potential, make amazing money, and ultimately change the world, right? So the demons
is it males only?
It is, yeah. It's men only. It's men only.
Sexist, you sexist motherfucker.
Take that up with Brody, man.
Just kidding.
But no, I know. But yeah, I mean, it's really like, do you want to like, because, and there's nothing like, a lot of people are like, wait, is it okay to say I want to make a shit ton of money? Like, yeah, because when you go through the transformational program that we have, because dude, what it does extremely well that I feel like a lot of coaching platforms lack is like, dude, there's tactics on how to grow and scale a business, right? Yes. And those really haven't modified that much, right? Tactics are tactics, right? Obviously you bring in like, you get a little industry specific, right? And some of those tactics start to get, obviously you get into the weeds a little bit, but like, again, scaling an e-commerce business, scaling a coaching and consulting business, scaling,
industry specific is a good way to put it.
Yeah,
the same principles that have different tactics in different industries.
Yeah, but like,
do you get into those?
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
of course. But like I said, the tactics for scaling an e-commerce business, they're there, right? Like you could probably, through reading some books, reading some free articles, like most of the nuts and bolts are there. Right. And so, but the reason why most people don't implement them fearlessly and consistently is because of, again, the mental side, the performance side, the transformation side. And so what we do is, like I said, we have all the business systemizations, right? Like those are there, right? Okay. We have those within our program and we teach them, but we also pair it with, well, who the fuck are you going to show up as to implement? Because if you show up as your old self, believing the old things, right? Not being held accountable because your friends and family don't value growth and in the pursuit of success as much as you do. Well, dude, who you show up as to implement is just as important as the tactics.
Yeah.
Right. You can give two people the exact same business plan and one can scale it within a year and the other one will just tread water with the same old shit, because it's not the tactics. The tactics work, but it's who are you showing up as, right? Yeah. What are you thinking? What are you expecting? What is your attitude? What is your emotional state? Are you leading? What is your performance like? Are you keeping promises to yourself, right? Yeah. And so, dude, at Wake Up Wealthy, by combining both, man, we just have this lethal potent combination. And I mean, if I'm being honest, dude, we fucking have proven it 200 plus times. Like it's just this epic formula. So
you said you said 6 figures monthly. Right.
Well, yeah. Well, we've proven it obviously for ourselves, but I'm talking about clients, right? We've proven it. We've proven it with the community, right?
Because I mean, that means something, right? That means that people are paying you and doing it, and like it's a proven strategy because it's what you're doing is working, basically.
Oh, dude, 100%. Like, I mean, it's why I joined it, right? It's why I joined it as a client, but it's also why I stepped away from my own personal coaching practice to be like, bro, like, there's something special here that I like. What I lack, Brody brought in the business side, and what he lacked in the neuroscience, the performance coaching, and the transformational side, I brought in like.
That's awesome.
It's been epic. So,
dude, let's talk about, like money, right? Like, so you said like some people, they have they think, I don't want to make too much money. It's bad. Like evil people make money, right? Like, first of all, fuck that. Like, I mean, it depends on who you want to be and who you are and all that. Yeah. But your target customer is a business person, right? So like they want to make money, right? And do you see that? Do you see people having that fear of like,
well, so no, it's funny.
What?
So no, it's funny. It doesn't matter what you think about money, right? So like the average person listening to this or the average client that comes in, of course I want more money.
Yeah, okay.
I want more money. I want freedom. I want to be free. I want more money, right? And so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you think about money. Pay attention to the knee-jerk reactions in your body when it comes to generating serious wealth. Or when you see someone else drive by in a Maserati, pay attention to the knee-jerk reaction in your body, because that is indicative of your deep belief. So a lot of people, consciously, consciously they're like, oh, I would love more money. Give me more money. But again, their deep beliefs are, oh, that person, money is bad.
Right.
Wait. I can scale to 7 figures, right? Like you got to pay attention to the knee-jerk reactions in your body, because remember, like, dude, your subconscious is in control 90% of the time. So it doesn't matter,
So you talked about, you see someone driving by in a Maserati. Do you think some people say they want more money, but then they see some rich guy and they're like, fuck this rich guy? And that is indicative of the fact that maybe they haven't got it all figured out, or they're a little scared about what it means, or like when I see someone in a Maserati, I'm like, fuck yeah, that guy's the man. Like, because I think that I have a healthy relationship with it. But I think, do you think some people say they want more money, but then they also maybe hate rich people or something like that, and they have to work that out in their minds?
Yeah, so dude, and this is like that next level of mindset that is so important for I mean, I think all people, but again, especially men in business that are vulnerable to so much of the mind games of business and comparison and money and all that. Like, you can think one thing, but subconsciously feel the exact opposite.
Yeah, that's
right.
And that means you need to work on yourself.
Well, yeah, like that means you need alignment, right? That means you need to heal and you need alignment. And so a lot of people would go, man, that Maserati's cool. I want more money. But again, I keep like the knee-jerk reaction, like what do you feel in your chest, in your stomach, in your heart, in your solar plexus when you see that person? Is your initial thing like, oh, douchebag, or do you feel threatened by it? Do you feel envious of it? Do you feel negative towards it? Because I know a lot of people, like I said, if you were to see their goals, they'd say, yeah, more money, more money, more money. But like, they either have this subconscious resistance towards it. They have this subconscious view that actual affluence and wealth is bad. They have this subconscious view that there's no way that they're.
Why do people have that? Why do a lot of people think that money's bad? Like,
oh, dude, we talked about this earlier on this episode, right? Dude, they inherited it from their family.
They're from their family, and maybe their family had a little bit of like jealousy, or just like, we're not rich, fuck rich people, they're all assholes. Like,
well, dude, there's
a lot of like that.
Between the ages of 2 and 12, you're just a sponge. It doesn't matter if it's true or false. You're a sponge. So let's say,
like, why do their parents think that?
Oh, because they got it from their parents between the ages of 2 and 12. Dude, like, it's weird. It is generational. Have you ever read Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Yes, I have read Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Right?
Robert
so he
Kawasaki or whatever.
Yeah, he lays this out very, very clearly. He's like, yo, it like multiple generations, like wealth can be passed down from generation to generation. So can poverty, because remember, it's how you think, it's how you feel, and it's how you act. And if you're learning to think, feel, and act negatively about money, that is going to be absorbed by your impressionable children, right? So they're going to grow up thinking it, but not knowing why, right?
Right.
And so,
that's the most important part, I think. And
yeah. And so it's like, if you have a subconscious resistance to money or wealth, or you deep down, you actually don't see yourself as being able to achieve it, you don't see yourself as being worthy of receiving it, it's not because it's true. It's because you've received this conditioning growing up, and you've practiced thinking and believing it so much that it, for all intents and purposes, has become true for you. But it's not universal. It's not a law. You can change it.
Interesting. Do you think there are some like people who are rich and successful and are like bad and unhappy and not aligned? Kind of like the opposite. Like most people, they're not rich and they want to be, right? And then you try to align that. Do you think there's the opposite at all?
Of course.
Okay. Like, well, who would be like, what's that? Like, what? That's so weird, because, you think success in business and a lot of money is good. But like maybe like if you see an Elon Musk or a Jeff Bezos, are you like, do you think they're all well aligned, or do you think they're dicks, or like what's your take on like a billionaire type guy?
Yeah. So I mean, dude, it all depends on. So it's actually funny. So like right before this call, I have a coaching client. Like I'm coaching her on how to build her coaching business and become a better coach, right?
Okay.
And she's like, "Hey, I got this new client. I'm not sure how to handle this. Can you take a look at some of the details and guide me a little bit?" I'm like, "Sure." This dude, 3 multi-million-dollar exits, right? Successfully started 5 businesses, 3 multi-million-dollar exits, houses all over the world. And the details of this dude's mind were painful, right? Like, dude wakes up every day fearing failure, divorced, ruined his first marriage, has trouble looking at himself in the mirror, spiritually just feels empty. And you're like,
that's crazy.
Here's the deal, man. As men, I think just as anyone in a Western society, but as men, right? Growing up, we learned, like, we're handed this cup with a big fucking hole in the bottom. And literally our parents, society, our culture says, fill up the cup and you'll be happy. Right? Fill up the cup with money, with stuff, with validation, with status, by climbing the ladder of success. Fill up the cup and you get to be happy. But if the cup has a fucking hole in the bottom, we're not achieving lasting levels of happiness, right? Once we put it in, almost as quickly it falls out, right? And exactly. So you got generations and generations of people thinking.
So that person was obviously talented, like at making money.
Of course, dude.
But that doesn't mean that they're happy, which is it's the ultimate goal of life. Come on, it is.
Yeah, dude. Of course. Like, and so I'll say this: money is an amplifier of what is inside you. It's not an eraser. So a lot of people think money's an eraser. So if I'm insecure and I'm worried all the time, once I get money, like money's going to come in and magically erase the habit of worry. It's going to erase the habit of anxiety from my body. And that's not true. It's an amplifier of it. So, dude, I remember that when I hit 6 figures for the first time, I was like, oh my God, like this magic carpet's going to take me to this special place where there's not going to be any problems. I just can't wait. And then I finally got there. I'm like,
as the same guy.
I got to pay more taxes. I'm the same guy. I got to make this much money. And now I got to learn how to make more than this much money.
Right,
my God. Like, dude, I'm like, so many people are like, once the money shows up, I'm going to feel secure. I'm going to finally relax and enjoy life.
Yeah. There's never, I feel like there's never a moment of happiness. Like you never get to a point and then you're there, right? It's something that's a constant progress.
So when you have the right mindset, dude, you can experience immense amounts of happiness. But you're absolutely right. Like this facade that like you're going to just hit this plateau, this peak, and everything just magically changes and you'll never have to worry again. That is false, because just the human fucking spirit is inquenchable. It doesn't matter if you have multi-billions dollars, you're on this island, you're living the best life. Like you're still going to find ways to want to improve yourself, to improve the world. It's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like once our shit is taken care of, we will go outward and look to improve other people's shit. Like that's just how we are. Like we can't, unless you're a sociopath, you can't really wire that out of you.
That's why I love entrepreneurship. It's like, I feel like it gives you the highest ceiling to be happy, because you always have something to be working towards, and you get to like use your brain in different ways and do different problem solvings. And you always have something to be working towards. And also, if you do well, you can make more money, which can be a good thing because you can get stuff that you want, but then that's not it. And if you align that with the constant building and the understanding of happiness, entrepreneurship is like a great way to do that. And like, I wake up every day and like, I have more money now than I had last year. Like, and I don't act any differently. I don't do anything any differently. I got a Tesla recently, but that's because I just want to do the driverless car thing. I'm way into that. I'm way into that. You're talking about autopilot. I was going to say, well, I got another level, but it's so fun for me. I look at money as kind of this like a playground of like fun, because I can buy a new machine, or I can hire a new employee. I can hire an operations manager. I'm looking to get in a new building. It's all just like fun. And it's hard work, but like hard work actually makes you happier because it gives you a purpose. And like, if you all get into well aligned, I feel like entrepreneurship is one of the best ways to just continually be happy. Because I think retirement, I hate the idea of retirement. You think you'll ever like retire per se?
No, again, that's an old model that
such old model. And it is a financial term. Like it's mean,
but it's a cultural thing too, where it's like, hey, endure this job that you don't like for 30 years.
Right. That's the worst. Oh God.
So that you can go die slowly in Florida after, right? It's like, God. It's such a broken model.
With no purpose at the end either, because you got nothing to do.
Yeah. I mean, play golf and drink OJ, right? Like
that's fun for a day. That's fun for a day. Like, imagine playing golf every day. I'd be so bored, man. I'd be so bored. But
I've never played golf.
Never?
No, I mean, I putted, but like I've avoided golf for some reason. I'm resistant to it subconsciously.
As like a business guy, I don't like golf because like it takes the whole damn day, Yeah. But whatever. But retirement's a broken model. It's so broken, like really is. And a lot of people are still working towards it. And hopefully people can get to it and then have some goal or something that they can live out for the rest of their life. A lot of people say, I feel like a lot of people, it's like their kids and their family, enjoying their family. And I mean, I might have kids soon. I mean, after I get married, but like the one thing I've decided is like, I am not going to live my life vicariously through my kid because I feel like that is a formula for unhappiness.
Yeah. And it's also like, don't wait until you don't need retirement to give you permission to really enjoy your family. Do it every fucking day. You know what I mean? So it's the power of mindset at work, just not in a good way. You know what I mean? Like it's the power of belief instilled in a negative way. I believe that when I am this, I can then do this. That's conditionality and it's broken. It's not going to work.
It's so broken. That's cool, man. So, so I was going to ask you about, I kind of wanted to get back to ego a little bit. I feel like we have like a little bit of a different opinion on it, right? Like I feel like me and you are similar in a lot of ways. Like we both love this mindset shit, both into business. Like I feel like we're a little different. Like I didn't know who what was the guy I didn't know? Paul, what's the guy? Dispenzo. I didn't know who that was. I didn't know Dispenzo, Joe Dispenzo. I didn't know who that was. And then before we hit record, I was talking about this guy Patrick Bet-David who came on my podcast. He's like a big entrepreneur guy, and like you didn't know who he was, and like I feel like we have some similarities and cross paths. And like ego, like do you like Kanye West?
I don't know enough about him to not like
him. I love Kanye West.
I hear wacky shit. I just like I've seen the South Park about fish sticks, like, but I just haven't like
hilarious.
I just haven't like I don't know enough about who he truly is as a person, because you never know like what's antics versus like what's going on in this. That's soul.
What I like. That's what I kind of like about him. I feel like that's like maybe a difference between me and you. You're a little more like spiritual to the core, and I'm a little more like I could be a little more like cocky in a way. Like we have the same understanding, but maybe use it a little differently. And that's one thing I like, people that you don't know what the hell they're thinking or what they're going to do next. I feel like, and it's definitely a tactic, and it comes back to ego. It's like I remember we talked about it last time, and I want to jump in a little more. It's like it actually. Ironically, Kanye with the biggest ego has a new song. It's called Ego Death. And he's always talking about how he kills his ego. But then he also has like a super big ego. So it's weird. But dissolving the ego and dissolving the sense of self and all that, like I understand that. But like, I don't know. Do you ever like cockiness? Like, do you like frown upon people who are like super cocky and like ego driven kind of?
So like when I talk about ego, like ego is really like, so we talked a lot about conditioning on this episode, right? Conditioning, right? Like these stories, these patterns, these worldviews that you inherited between the ages of 2 and 12, they got lodged in your subconscious, right? And they've built that personality, they built that identity, right?
Yeah.
And so when I say ego, it's that identity that we've become identified with that I view as a really big inhibitor of happiness and performance and the fulfillment of potential, right? Now cockiness, like overcompensating is one thing, right?
Agreed.
Like
100%.
Overcompensating is one thing, but dude, point blank certainty, where you're so certain of who you are and the value you bring that you don't give a fuck if someone responds weirdly, like that's a beautiful thing, right? So like,
I love that.
Knowing who you are, knowing like, you know, like, so there's people who have asked me about Wake Up Wealthy and asked me about coaching and stuff. And I'll tell them just based off of what I know about them, based on what they've told me, I would tell them what they need. Just like a mechanic would be like, hey, you need a new belt, you need new this, right? Like you just look at like, I was like, this is what you need. and this is the program to do it. Right? I'm not being cocky. I'm not overcompensating. I'm not flashy, but I am so certain of the truth that this person has a problem that I can serve, that what I say and how I say it, I cannot become attached to their reaction.
Yeah.
Because I refuse to distort the truth based on their possible reaction. Right? And so certainty,
but also you're helping someone, which is so like fucking kind and nice and like inherently like such a good thing to want to be good at, helping other people. Like I'm not the best like teacher, and sometimes I wonder how much I care about helping other people, and I think I do, but like I debate it in my head, and I'm like, am I a dick? Like, and I'm always like thinking about that, but like you have such like a kind spirit. I feel like. Would you agree?
But here's the thing. You're not a dick if you're using the truth to help someone see what they can't see for themselves. Right?
Yeah, I mean, people will call you a dick.
But that's true. But they are also not calling you a dick. Their ego's reaction is calling you a dick. Right. And so like think about this. If you had if you had one of your best friends ever, who they kept dating the wrong type of people and getting their heart broken, right?
I'll tell them in 2 seconds.
Yeah, but think about it. It would be a real dick move if instead of saying the truth, hey man, you're doing this to yourself.
Right.
No one is targeting you. You're doing this to yourself by choosing this caliber of person, right? That would be the most powerful act of love, right? Because you're arming them with the truth so they can wake up.
Yeah.
But what do most people do? Oh man, screw that girl. She was a bitch. Here's a beer. It's not your fault, right? Like that's actually enabling self-sabotage, dysfunctional behavior. That's a dick move, right?
It's a dick move. And I've actually always been really straightforward with people, and like I've actually been trying to work on my tactics of like being better at telling someone with that, and actually having them with the end result of them actually listening. Because if they're gonna block it, then it's not helpful anyway. So like, I've tried to work on my tactics. I say like, do I have permission to tell you something? I've been trying to like do different things to get better at it, but
but as long as it's like I said, as long as you're using the truth to serve someone, like even if their initial reaction is offended, you're not even offending their core person. You're offending their ego, right? And it's good to offend the ego. You got to poke holes in other people's ego so that they can see the truth, right? Like, because I'm not my ego, you're not your ego. Like, we're that more peaceful being, right? We're that higher being. And so, but yeah, like I said, like overcompensating cockiness is one thing, but like, dude, no, certainty where someone is so confident in the truth that they're not afraid of offending your ego. Like that's a beautiful thing. Like I used to resist that as a coach because I didn't want to be air quotes mean, but like, dude, again, you're not being mean if you're using the truth to empower someone. Yeah. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And I guess when I think about it sometimes about the ego thing, I think about, maybe I'm thinking of like a public perception of yourself, which is a whole different game kind of. Cause I like people like Trump interests me, like, cause it's like, you don't know what he's doing next. Like Kanye, like I like Kim Kardashian, like, but like, they are very, I don't know what they're like behind closed doors. I never met them, but I like the way they play with their ego in like public. And it's like, it's a little bit of marketing, a little bit of branding, but like they come off as big egos. And I think that's why I think like maybe they're using it as a tool. I guess I don't know them well enough, but that's where I think another interesting way to think about ego is like how to portray yourself as like a public person a little bit. And maybe that's another level of thinking about it, but, I don't know. Any thoughts on that?
That's beyond my scope, Sean.
That's beyond your scope. I think that's beyond your scope. Yeah,
that's beyond my scope.
Right, because people aren't coming to you thinking, "Hey, how can I master market to like get elected?" They actually need help internally. Yeah. Okay, and that's where your expertise is. And
of course, But I mean, again, I'm not saying though that other way is right or wrong. I'm just like, it's. I'd be curious to be like, again, I'd be curious on like to really know their like deep quality of life, right? You know what I mean? Like that's like well, maybe someday there'll be a 6-part docuseries on Netflix, like the true life of Kanye West or something, and then we'll know. Once it's on Netflix, you know.
Yeah, because that can't be shaped in your own vision at all. Oh, dude. But I love this shit, man. Any final thoughts? Any final messages? Like, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm gonna plug Wake Up Wealthy one more time if you don't mind. Like, if there's any male entrepreneurs, male business owners, or if you're in
real quick, let me ask you, because I'm helping you with Wake Up Wealthy here. Do you need to be in Austin, Texas? Can you be anywhere in the country? Is it a virtual?
Oh no, dude, it's a purely digital platform.
Platform. Okay.
Yeah, we do have in-person events every quarter as well, which are, dude, they're a whole nother beast. They're amazing, but and those are held all over the country. But no, dude, it's a digital coaching experience. And yeah, if you're, like I said, if you're a man in business or you're an entrepreneur or you're in your 9 to 5 and you want to start something else and transition out and you're responsible for your income, like it's the #1 performance coaching program for ambitious young men.
Ambitious young men. I think that's a lot of my listeners.
Yeah, right. Dude. Yeah. And so like, maybe in the show notes, I can put,
hell yeah.
I can put a link that will show you more about the program. And so you can actually book a call with our team and find out more about it. But like, yeah, man, my heart has been called to this work and my heart has led me to Wake Up Wealthy. And like, man, I just fucking love the mission because, the culture is special, but like just seeing it work, right? Seeing it work through my eyes, like seeing people actually, these light bulbs go off and then them going and having, record setting months, but also being super fucking happy on the inside. Like men deserve both, right? You deserve both. And so like, yeah, if there's anyone on here who wants to, make more money, but also change more lives and maximize that fucking potential they know they have inside. Sean will include a link in the notes and just 100%. Hit that up to learn more.
Okay. Yes. Check out the show notes. Wake Up Wealthy, Julian Rosen. This guy's fucking smart. Dude, every time I see one of your like posts on Instagram or something, I'm just like, fuck yeah, dude. I'm like, this guy gets it. I love it. I love the mindset shit, man. I love how smart you are. And I appreciate you coming on.
Dude, I appreciate you having me, man. And like I said, the work you do for this podcast, right? Like, for all your listeners out there, like work goes in to provide this episode to you in terms of scheduling and prepping and researching. So, I mean, I know it's like when we get a lot of free content, it's easy to just be, it's free, it's fine. Like, but like a lot of work on the producing end goes into it on Sean. So like this guy goes above and beyond to bring you guys some amazing info. So does Brandon. Brandon goes above and beyond.
Brandon. Yeah, that's what I was
Brandon behind the scenes. Yeah, they go above and beyond.
I couldn't do it without him.
Yeah. So it's, like for all of this to be available at the push of a button for you, the listener, a lot goes on, with Sean and Brandon. So show them some love. If you haven't left him a review or shared his podcast with a friend, do it because the guy goes above and beyond for the listeners. And that's, I mean, if you were to ask him, I'm sure that's why he started this thing in the first place.
Yeah, man. And to talk to cool people like you. But dude, absolutely appreciate it. And hey, maybe you will be the first person to come on 3 times in the future.
Dude, I'm game for it. I'm game for it. Meditate more, Sean. That is my ask of you.
All right, I will. I'm already.
I'll follow Kanye West on Instagram if you meditate more.
Deal. Shake on it. All right.
There we go.
All right, man. Peace out. Appreciate it. And you the man. Hey, thanks for watching the Sean Lowery Show. You are the greatest. Watch some more videos of me right up here.